You know, we're pulling out the big guns with this one. Delish. What's up, you guys? Welcome back to my channel. My name is Jessie, and today I'm here to do a book haul. Beep, 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 beep. I have collected quite a bit of books recently, and I think it's long overdue for a book haul. So a lot of these books I was gifted because my birthday was recently. I also got a few gifts sent to me because of recent things that are happening in my life, and I also went on a reading retreat which had a lot of book shopping. So I'm very excited to talk about all the books that are piling up over here. So let's just go ahead and jump into it. Okay, all of these books are in like no particular order, but I have I have 6 Freda McFadden books that I need to talk about. So I'm just gonna kind of quickly go over these. The Devil Wears Scrubs by Freda McFadden. I think this is like a romance. Oh, I forgot I had some stickers and a bookmark in here. I think this is like a romance with a little bit of a thriller. It says, newly minted Dr. Jane McGill is in hell, but between her drug addict patients, sleepless nights on call, and battling wits of a sadistic yet charming sexy surgeon, Jane can't imagine an afterlife much worse than her first month of a medical internship at County Hospital. So that's all I really know. One of my things is to kind of read all of Freda's books, and I definitely need to get more into her like super early backlist, so this is one of them. I also got The Perfect Son by Freda McFadden at the book exchange. I've already read this one. I read it on my Kindle Unlimited, so I just wanted to have a physical copy because I really did enjoy this one. The next one is Want to Know a Secret by Freda McFadden. This was gifted to me for my birthday by my friend Melissa, who was on the reading retreat, so thank you so much, Melissa. This one says, everyone has secrets. YouTube baking sensation April Masterson knows the secret to the perfect gooey brownies, or how to make a key lime square that will melt in your mouth. But if you keep watching her offline, you may find some other secrets about April. Secrets she'd rather that you didn't know. So I like that it's got a YouTuber. Like, you don't see that very often. The next one was gifted to me by my friend Lena. She said in her note that she loves that we're both in our Freda era. So thank you so much, Lena, for the gifted copy. I am so excited to read this one because I know this is an early Freda book as well. This says, when Heather dreamed of becoming a doctor, she imagined curing sick kids or sporting pink stethoscopes. She never anticipated the sleepless nights, grueling exams, and endless labs. And she certainly didn't know that her medical school earned the nickname Dead Med thanks to the tragic history of students overdosing on illegal drugs. So interesting. This one's kind of chunky too as well. It's over 400 pages. So, but yeah, I'm excited to read this one. Naturally, my battery would die. But moving on, I have The Coworker by Freda McFadden. I got this at the book exchange. I have not read this one, and I'm gonna be honest, when I hear people talk about this one, it's never like really positive, but I'm still very interested in this one, so can't wait to read this one. 2 women, an office filled with secrets, one terrible crime that can't be taken back. Sounds good. And then lastly, I have the newest Freda McFadden book. I need to take the Target sticker off, but this is The Intruder. This is the November Sleep When I'm Dead book club pick, and I'm very excited because I'm going to be reading this with Wendy. The discussion will be on November 17th, I believe. I'm going to have the graphic up here, so make sure you guys pick up a copy. I believe this is also on Kindle Unlimited, but I gotta have a physical copy. Also, it has the sprayed edges, so I'm very excited to read this one. This one says, Casey's cabin in the wilderness is not built for a hurricane. Her roof shakes, the lights flicker, and the tree outside her front door stays ominously in the wind, but she's a lot more worried about the girl she discovers lurking outside her kitchen window. That's creepy. Okay, sign me up. Speaking of Sleep When I'm Dead, I also have We Live Here Now by Sarah Pembroke. I'm actually currently reading this right now. The discussion for this one will be on October 27th at 8 p.m. Eastern with Ashley from Ashley's The Library. I'm very excited to read and discuss this one because it's definitely got that haunted house vibe. This says, after an accident that nearly killed her, Emily and her husband Freddie moved from London to a beautiful Dartmoor country house called Larkin Lodge. The house is gorgeous, striking, and to Emily, something feels deeply wrong. So excited. Okay, so kind of switching gears a little bit. As you know, I have for years been trying to get all of my Harry Potter books in hardback. Now I'm on the hunt for the illustrated editions, and I found the first one, which is Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. I'm very excited just to have this. I probably won't actually read it, but I just love the artwork in these books. It's just so beautiful. We're just gonna go ahead and put this with the rest of their books. Okay, I have two books. One is physical and one is the ebook. The physical book that I have is The Block Party by Jamie Day. I've seen this author numerous times and I just never picked them up. However, my friend Hannah from the Teacher's TBR, she read this book, gave it 5 stars, and like raved about it. So I'm excited to kind of try this author, and I believe this might be her debut. I could be wrong. I'm not 100% sure, but I know Hannah just loved this book so much. And then I also have The Lake Escape by Jamie Day. So I have both of the books. So I may do like an author taste test video. Let me know if you guys would be interested in this one. Okay, the next one I have is Night Watcher by Daphne Wollstonecraft. Wait, Wollstonecraft. That is a mouthful. So this was actually gifted to me by my husband. He took me book shopping one day and he picked out this book for me. So I'm very excited to read this one because it definitely has like that, like, I don't want to say podcaster element, but like radio vibe to it. And I just, this cover, striking. Let's see, this one says Nola Strait, a late night call-in host in Portland, Oregon, listens to stories of haunting and cryptic sightings for a living. But one foggy, wet evening, when a caller describes an eerie scene that triggers memories of Nola's escape from a serial killer before, she becomes fearfully aware that he's back to finish what he started. So like a late night talk show host on a radio station, that just sounds so good. And apparently the author is the host of Going West, a true crime podcast. So I'm here for the vibes. I've also heard really good things about this one, so I'm excited to read this. All right, I found some book of the month books that I've been interested in. This one is Daughter of Mine by Megan Miranda. I'll admit, Megan Miranda, her thrillers are very like meh, middle of the road, but something about this one I've been like wanting to read. So I'm excited to have my own copy now. This one says the discovery of the first car was a shock, the second car was a pattern, a warning, and the key to decade-old mysteries that may be better off left in the past. I believe this one has to do with like a missing daughter, so I'm very excited to read this one. Next, I have Pictures of You by Emma Gray. I have heard really good things about this one, so I'm excited to read this one, and it kind of gives me like the Vow vibes. I don't know if that's like a good representation for it. But it says, what would you do if you could start over? Imagine having a second chance with the one you never forgot. Evie Hudson should be grieving her dead husband, but since the car crash that claimed his life and landed her in the hospital, she can't remember him at all. The only person who can help her piece the past together is her high school best friend, Drew Kennedy. When snippets of her memory start falling into place, Evie wonders exactly how she ended up in a life that couldn't be further from the one she dreamed of. This time around, she's seeing all the things she missed and the life that she gets to choose again. So I love a good amnesia trope, so I'm excited to read like kind of like a romance about that. All right, 2 books that I picked up that I have read, I just don't have the physical copy, is Look Closer by David Ellis. I really enjoyed this book. This is a really good thriller, very different, and it got a lot of hype, so I finally read it and I was like, oh my gosh, I love this. I did give it 4 stars. I feel like it was a little overhyped in my opinion. However, it is such a good fast-paced thriller, and it takes place on Halloween, so if you're interested, I pick it up. And then lastly, I have Mistakes We Never Made by Hannah Brown. I read this one and I believe it was like purely just the most perfect time to read it because I was in the mood for a romance. There's scenes in Las Vegas. I just recently went to Las Vegas at that time and I just loved this one so much. I do wish I had the other cover, but that's okay. I have it to add to my collection. All right, I have 3 more hardback books, so I figured I'd just go ahead and knock those out. From Aardvark Book Club, I have Too Old for This by Samantha Downing. I love Samantha Downing's writing. I'm very excited to read this one eventually. This one just says a retired serial killer's quiet life is upended by an unexpected visitor. To protect her secret, there's only one option left. What's another murder? So, senior citizen murderer. Sign me up. Love that. Next, I have Not Quite Dead Yet by Holly Jackson. I got this because my best friend Gwen, who is the host of the Talk Bookish to Me podcast, she actually just did a book discussion on this with 2 other of my friends. And unfortunately, I haven't read it yet, but I definitely want to read this very soon so that way I can tune into that episode. And this is Holly Jackson's first adult debut. She's written a bunch of like young adult thrillers, but I'm excited to read what her adult thrillers are like. So from what I remember, this is about a woman who kind of doesn't have her life together, and all of a sudden something happens and she has, I believe it's a brain aneurysm, and the doctors say she has about 7 days left to live. And I believe she was attacked that caused this, and so she's trying to solve her own murder before the end of the 7 days. So should be a good fun read. And this is one I've heard a lot of people talk about. It is The Wedding People by Alison Espash, I think is how you say the last name. I have just heard a lot of people talk about this one, and I'm not like a literary fiction type of girly, but I have heard such good things. I know Gwen read this one and she was talking to me about it, and she was telling me what the story was about. I was like, wait. That actually sounds really, really good. I believe it's about a woman who is very unhappy with her life, and I think she books herself into this hotel to kind of like unalive herself, unfortunately. But there's this huge wedding that's happening, and she wasn't even supposed to be staying at this hotel because the whole place was supposed to be booked. And I think she finds a reason to live through like all the wedding people. So I'm very excited to see what I think of this one. I love the shimmery cover too as well, so it's just beautiful. Okay, trying out a few new things. I have heard a lot of people rant and rave about Ellen Hildebrand, and so I probably will not read this anytime soon, but I'm excited to have it for when the occasion does happen. I have something on my TBR, so probably not till the summer, because I know a lot of her books take place during the summer. But I have The 5-Star Weekend by Ellen Hildebrand. I googled like what Ellen Hildebrand's most popular book is, and this is what Google said. So I'm excited to have this one. I could picture myself reading this at the beach. So I'm not sure what it's about. Yeah, I'm not really sure what this book is about. I kind of want to go into it a little blindly, so I'm glad to have this one on my TBR. And then I know in November I want to try to do nonfiction November, so I have this one. I have had this, I've heard so much about this book when it first released. I think this came out before the pandemic, and I heard a lot of people talking about it. It is Know My Name by Chanel Miller. This one I know has a lot of like heavy topics in it. So I know this one is about obviously Chanel Miller, but I know there was a rape case against her. I don't really know too much about her actual story, but I've heard nothing but great things from those who have read this one, and I definitely want to read something, you know, a little darker, a little more like, you know, I want some substance in this. So I'm very excited to read this one in November. I was about to put all these books away, and then I found a whole stack down here at the very bottom of new books I did not even mention. So I have more, like a lot more. This one is for my work's in-person book club. It is If It Makes You Happy by Julie Olivia. I'm very excited for this. It's giving me Gilmore Girls vibes. It says, get comfy with this cozy slow burn romance set in the autumnal glow of 1997 small town Vermont. And that's all I really want to know. I know my friend Wendy has recently read this one, and she gave it 5 stars, and she said it is perfection. So I'm very excited to read like a fall little romance. Speaking of Wendy, she actually gifted me a book for my birthday as well. It is The Tapes by Carrie Wilkinson. I have not heard of this author before, but it sounds very, very interesting. It says, if you're listening to this, I've been murdered. Eve is cleaning her father's house when she finds an old cassette player and a box of tapes. Though grieving, she smiles at the spark of nostalgia. One of the tapes is labeled Eve and her mother Angela's scrawling handwriting. She disappeared for good more than 10 years ago. The tape whirls, a voice cracks. My name is Angela. Tears fill Eve's eyes at the familiar voice and at the thought of this message is just for her. But the next words make her heart pound. If they say I'm missing, I'm not. If you're listening to this, it's because I've been murdered. Desperate for answers, Eve has no one left to ask, only a box of tapes that could lead to the truth. But the more she listens, the more she realizes she can never go to the police because Eve's mother has her own secrets. But what if her killer is still out there? And what if Eve is next? Sounds so good. I can't wait to read this. This next one is going to shock y'all because it is a romantasy book. So I know. So my friend Dani from Dani's Reading Corner, she actually sent this to me because I had lost one of my dogs not that long ago. So she sent me a small care package. She sent this with some candy and I'm just so excited. It is Until the World Falls Down by Jordan Lynn. And I am so excited to try this because I saw this on TikTok. This may sound weird. And I made Gwen watch the movie and she's like, yeah, that's weird. But it is supposed to be Beauty and the Beast meets The Labyrinth with David Bowie and Jim Henson's puppets. So it's basically more of a romance side of The Labyrinth, and I loved that movie growing up as a kid. Let me know in the comments if you've seen that movie. Make sure I'm not the only one. But yeah, I'm really excited to give this a try. It's over 500 pages. Oh, and there's character art too. Interesting. Oh, and there's going to be a book too. Okay, good job. Ma'am, this is a Chili's. So yeah, I am not a romantasy reader, but I am actually excited to read this one. I definitely want to try to read this before the end of the year. So thank you so much, Dani. I got my 2 book of the month books. I actually got the October pick as well as a birthday add-on since my birthday is in October. So my add-on was The Heartbreak Hotel. I have never heard of this, so apparently everyone was excited for this book to come out. So I originally passed on it, but I got it as my birthday add-on. So this just says, a bed and breakfast for the brokenhearted might hold the key to another chance at love in this achingly hopeful debut romance. I'm excited to give this a shot. And then the next one, I'm actually really excited about this one. The day I'm filming this, I believe the book will be coming out. So I'm excited to read this one. This is probably going to be my next read. It is The Haunting of Payne's Hollow by Kelly Armstrong. And first I was like, what? I've never heard this one before. But it's pitched as like a Sleepy Hollow inspired type of story. And the synopsis sounds so good. When Samantha Payne's grandfather dies, she figures she won't even get a mention in the will. After all, she hasn't seen him in 14 years. Not since her father took his own life after being accused of murdering a child at their lakefront cottage. Her grandfather always insisted her father was innocent, despite Sam having caught him in burying the child's body, his clothing soaked in blood. But when she attends the reading of the will at the behest of her aunt, she discovers that her grandfather left the very valuable lakefront property where the family cottage sits. There's one catch. Sam needs to stay in the cottage for 1 month to finally face the fact that she was wrong and her father was innocent, according to her grandfather. After traveling to Payne's Hollow, Sam is faced with the realities of her childhood and the secrets kept hidden in the shadows of her memories. When her aunt goes missing a couple days into their stay, Sam begins to question everything again. Plagued by nightmares and paranoia, she hears sounds in the forest and sees shapes crawling from the water as the rippling waves of the lake promise something unspeakably dark lurking just below the surface. It sounds so good, and it's kind of short too, so I'm very excited. I love the back. And at first I was like, what is this cover? But it's a horse. Duh. Next, my friend Summer sent me a book for on my wish list, and I'm very excited to read this one. I've heard good things. I don't typically like, you know, darker romances, but I've really loved Butcher and Blackbird, and my friend told me to try Lights Out. So because of like the comedic side of things, so I'm excited. I don't know what this book is about. I think it has stalking, which we all know I love stalking. So this just says, the couple who slays together stays together. I'm excited to give this one a shot. So thank you so much, Summer. I'm so excited to read this. So the next one I have is The Summer of Perfect Mistakes by Cynthia St. Aubin. This one I really wanted to read this summer, but I just never got around to it. But thank you so much to Leah Beth. She gave it to me and I'm so excited to read this. This says, an achingly authentic emotional summer romance about learning to color outside the lines. So I kind of forgot what this book is about, but it looks and sounded so cute when I first read it, so I'm very excited to give this a shot. And then the next book that I have on this book haul is Tour Season by Bryn Weaver, the author of Butcher and Blackbird. I'm so excited. Thank you so much, Melissa, for gifting me a copy of this. I have no idea what this book is about, but it's the author of Butcher and Blackbird. It is the start of a new trilogy. I just cannot wait. It is the Seasons of Carnage trilogy. So I'm very excited to read this one. Thank you so much, Melissa. All right, I have 3 more. I have 2 romances I'm very excited about. This is Given Our History by Kristen Miller. Very fall theme. I'm so excited to read this one. This says, Assistant Professor Claire Fernsby has wanted to teach history since she was 14, and she hasn't let anything stand in her way, not even the love of her life. Everything is about to pay off. She's finally up for tenure at the private college she's worked for since finishing grad school. Then there's Theodore Harrison is brought on as a visiting scholar. Claire's plans are compromised. The man teaching History 322 may look like a stranger, but she can still see traces of the dark-haired boy she fell in love with. She hasn't spoken to Teddy in 10 years since she abruptly broke things off over the phone. And with him on campus, she can't stop thinking about their shared history. Autumn spent in a sleepaway camp at the Blue Ridge Mountains, which I live near the Blue Ridge Mountains. Trading battered history books and burned CDs, quietly becoming inseparable. Now, as they spend more and more time together, she realizes she's at risk for falling all over again. But Clara is the expert on history, and this time she's got no intention on repeating it. That sounds so cute! Okay, and then lastly, I have In a New York Minute by Kate Spencer. I read a Kate Spencer book and loved it. I believe I gave it 5 stars. It was a enemies to lovers, friends to lovers summer camp vibe. So I'm excited to read one set place in New York City. Franny is having the worst day. She's been laid off from her job. The subway doors ripped her favorite silk dress, and she just flashed her unmentionables to half of lower Manhattan. On the plus side, a dashing stranger comes to the rescue. On a not so plus side, someone posted they're entirely not meet cute online. Suddenly, Franny and Hayes Montgomery III are the newest social media sensation. Oh my gosh, I'm gonna stop there because it just sounds so cute. I really like this author's writing, so I'm excited to read this one. Okay, and then lastly, I have The Chamber by Will Dean. I have another book by him somewhere on my TBR, and this one just sounds really good, kind of like claustrophobic, suffocating kind of way. I know that sounds weird. I'll explain. This says, close your eyes, think calm thoughts, and take a deep breath. It will all be over soon. 6 experienced deep sea divers are locked inside a hyperbaric chamber. Cool and professional, they know that rapid decompression would be fatal, so they work in shifts, breathing helium and surviving in uncomfortable close quarters. Then one of them is found dead. So this just sounds so, I'm getting the feelings already that this is going to be good, so I'm very excited to read this one, hopefully soon. Alright guys, those are all the books that I have to add to my TBR shelf. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you've made it to this video, leave a book stack emoji in the comment section. It lets me know you've watched the whole video. And also, while you're at it, if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. It's free. It just shows support and also pushes out my videos so other people can find me. Also give it a thumbs up, and I will see you guys all in the next video. Bye!
Hello, Ramona. I can't say